Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something that I think every single one of us deals with: weakness. It's a word we often try to avoid, right? We live in a culture that celebrates strength, independence, and having it all together. We post our highlight reels on social media, we put on a brave face at work, and we try to convince ourselves and everyone else that we've got it under control. But what happens when we don't? What happens when the cracks start to show? When we feel overwhelmed, inadequate, or just plain tired? There is a fascinating and profoundly countercultural verse in the Bible that flips our entire understanding of strength and weakness on its head. It's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. The Apostle Paul is pleading with God to take away something he calls a thorn in his flesh, a source of great suffering in his life. We don't know exactly what it was, but it was causing him immense distress. And after asking God 3 times to remove it, this is the answer he receives: "My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness." Let's just sit with that for a moment. God's response isn't, "Okay, I'll take it away so you can be strong again." It isn't. "Just try harder and you'll overcome it." God's response is a radical redefinition of where true power comes from. He says his power is not just present in spite of our weakness, but it is made perfect. It reaches its intended complete purpose right in the middle of it. This is such a game changer. It means our weaknesses, the very things we might be most ashamed of, the areas where we feel like we're failing, are not disqualifiers from God's plan. They are, in fact, the exact places where his power is designed to show up most brilliantly. Think about it like a beautiful stained glass window. The window is made of broken pieces of glass. It's the light shining through the cracks, through the different colored fragments, creates the breathtaking masterpiece. Without the broken pieces, you just have a plain, clear window. In the same way, it's the light of God's power shining through that creates something beautiful and powerful for the world to see. Paul's response to this revelation is just as incredible. He says, "Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." Can you imagine that? Boasting about your weaknesses, not in a self-pitying way, but gladly and joyfully, because he understood that his weakness was the very thing that made room for God's strength. When we are strong in our own power, we tend to rely on ourselves. But when we reach the end of our own strength, when we are forced to admit, "I can't do this on my own," that's when we create space for a power far greater than our own to step in. So what does this look like in our everyday lives? Maybe your weakness is anxiety that feels crippling. God's grace is sufficient for you in that anxiety. His power can bring peace that doesn't make sense in the middle of your storm. Maybe your weakness is a past mistake that you carry with a lot of shame. His grace is sufficient to cover that shame, and his power can be made perfect by using your story of redemption to bring hope to someone else. Maybe your weakness is a physical limitation, a chronic illness, or just the exhaustion of being a parent or a student. In that place of, "I can't," God says, "That's where I can." This verse invites us to stop hiding our weaknesses and start seeing them as opportunities. It's an invitation to be authentic, to be honest with ourselves, with others, and with God. When we admit we don't have it all together, we not only open ourselves up to receive God's power, but we also give others the freedom to be honest about their own struggles. We create a community where it's okay to be imperfect, because we know that our sufficiency doesn't come from ourselves, but from a grace that is always enough. Let's challenge the narrative that we have to be perfect. Your weakness is not a liability. It is the stage upon which God's strength can be most beautifully displayed. His grace is not just a little bit of help, it is fully sufficient, completely adequate for whatever you are facing right now. When you feel weak, that is your cue to lean into his strength. When you feel like you have nothing left, that is the perfect moment for his power to be made perfect in you. So today, whatever that thorn in the flesh is for you, whatever your area of weakness might be, I encourage you not to despise it, but to bring it before God. Acknowledge it and say, "God, I am weak here, but I believe your grace is sufficient. I believe your power can be made perfect right here in this mess, in this struggle." And then watch what he does. Watch how his strength shows up in ways you could never have manufactured on your own. This is a truth that can bring so much freedom and hope. It releases us from the exhausting pressure of trying to be superhuman and allows us to rest in the reality that we are fully known, fully loved, and fully equipped, not by our own strength, but by His. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this was an encouragement to you. If it was, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How have you seen God's power show up in your weakness? Sharing our stories is one of the most powerful ways we can encourage one another. Take care, and remember, His grace is always sufficient. God bless.